stuff for you to share before we begin. Thanks for kicking this off.
Okay, thank you. All right. Hey, Miss Dominique. Let's start with the start. We do this every November, get together to recognize an individual for their commitment to the quality of life in Eastern Burke County through their efforts and/or resources. This award uses the Rotary motto, service above self, as the guidelines for the selection. Any person or organization who volunteers time or resources is eligible to receive this award. A committee of past presidents of the Rotary Club of Valdese chooses the winner of the award. As a past club president, I am honored to read the application for this year's Service Above Self Award. Often Service Above Self winners have done one major thing or a few big things for their community and have already received several awards for their efforts. However, there are many people in our community who live a life of service above self who may never be recognized because of their constant and furious and continuous low-key service is not something everyone knows about. It is that daily sacrifice of always putting others' needs first, of choosing to give back instead of taking time for oneself, and the day in and day out of living service above self that can go unnoticed but make a huge, huge difference. Patricia Zimmerman is one of those in our community who flies below the radar but has given a lifetime of service to organizations, her family, and only those she may have just met. Patricia, or Pat, or Trish, however you know her, was born on Flat Gap to Effie and Emmanuel Jacobin. One of 6 children, the family had a farm and a small store for those in the area. They always attended church, helped their neighbors, and were a respected family in town. Married at age 17 to Glenn Richard Zimmerman, much of her life, as was for many women of the time, was supporting her husband's dreams and efforts. While Glenn was a state officer with the North Carolina JC, Pat became president of the JSETs and was the woman behind the scenes for Glenn's work with the North Carolina organization. She was the unpaid bookkeeper before he started a furniture company and later his real estate sales and rental company. Of course, that included all the odd jobs required by those running their own business and took much of her time. You can imagine how time and funds were short in those early years. In addition, she was always on the receiving end of his crazy efforts, bringing home hitchhikers for dinner so Mom could feed them and wash their clothes, and even brought home an entire load of gospel singers one night when their bus broke down near her house. Not to mention she was pregnant, sick, and in bed, but was expected to get up and feed people. And she was also mostly the full-time caregiver for Glenn's bedridden mother for several years. As the businesses grew and JC's wrapped up for Glenn, Pat came into her own, finding ways to give back in areas that she was passionate about. She served with organized groups like Meals on Wheels, received an award from Governor Martin for her work in March of Dimes, was a dedicated poll worker for many years, and most recently joined a monthly EUC on Soup Kitchen team. She started at age 80 and has only missed 1 month of volunteering in the kitchen at 3 years. Looking at she's 83 and gone over what the Soup Kitchen's all about. She served at her churches while at East Valley Baptist Church she led GAs, that's Girls in Actions, but in the late 70s moved to First United Methodist Church to worship alongside her parents. And I don't know, though, we got kicked out because my sister cried all the time. Early on, Mom was involved with youth activities alongside at our church. But then, 25 years ago, the monthly hygiene closet was started to provide cleaning products and hygiene items to those in need. And so each month she shops for those items, always seeking the best deals, packages up the bags, and organizes distribution. Also, 25 years ago, Mom, Pat, Trish, Patricia, whatever you call her, started and has overseen the twice-a-year food truck. And she organizes that, pays for the truck, gets the word out, and is in charge of that event. And thanks to Rotarians for coming to support that. She does many jobs at church that are not assigned titles, always cooking, cleaning, welcoming guests, and making everyone feel included. But one-on-one may be where Pat shines brightest, but that light is only known by the recipient. She was the first person to be assigned a student to mentor at Valdese Junior High. She was paired with a girl named Angie, and for 3 years, Mom took her to lunch every single week, sharing lessons on good values, hard work, taking her to a hairstylist, providing her with products and new clothes here and there. She was also the anchor in Kenneth's life for 1 year. He was a youthful offender she met when he was trying to get his life in order after release. She mentored him and allowed him to stay in the rental units. She has been a rock for countless others in the community who needed someone to talk to, someone to offer them guidance, someone to be the support system where they otherwise have none. There are so many that I know about, while there are just as many that I do not know about. Pat has always been there for her 3 children, Barry, Leah, Beth, and Julie. Working on projects, attending games, sewing on patches, that's for those Boy Scout boys, and taking on PTA jobs, flashing meets, and field trips. There was always a home-cooked meal on the table every evening, and that means peeling potatoes and carrots because we didn't have stoppers back then. Clothes hung on the line to dry for added freshness. And with her children as adults, she still gets her time with all our causes we pick up, whether that's prisons, parks, or pets. And most recently, she has taken over the lunch preparation for Friends of Valdese Rank's monthly lunch and learn. Living next to her parents, she served as caregiver to her father after his stroke, and for many years curled her mom's hair every Saturday with dippity-doo and clips, so Mama would be ready for church on Sunday. Along the lines of family, the annual Jackman reunion was successful for about 30 years with officers, donations, participants, but for the last 15 years, while others gave up, Pat would not. She wanted to keep the memory, the history of life of Virginia and John Jackman, who came to Valdese from Italy in the 3rd wave with 9 children and added 2 children once they got here. So she planned and hosted that annual Jackman reunion event by herself until finally Lois and us went out. From the Valdese farming start to Glenn starting his own business early in their marriage, Pat's early life was without frills. She wore dresses made from feed sacks as a child, and as a wife and mother, she sewed her family's clothes and always made sure her children had what they needed before she did. She didn't make a big deal about that, of always putting her children's needs and wants first. It was only as we kids got older and looked back that we recognized the sacrifices she made for us. When Patricia was 50 years old, the love of her life, Glenn, died suddenly of a massive heart attack. Her youngest child, Julie, aged 14, was still in the home at the time. Julie and Pat always put Julie first and never dated and never wanted Julie to worry about someone replacing her dad. At the time when many of us are having half-century birthday parties, Pat was grieving the loss of her father the week before, then the loss of her husband, and had to take over the Zimmerman Rentals business and learn to be a single parent. She survived that difficult time, but I don't think any of us really knew all the heartache and burden she was carrying. She never wallowed in her sorrow. A story from her oldest son, Barry. Oh, you're her only son. Beyond the oldest kid.
Favorite son.
Barry sums up her life like this, the service of South portion. One freezing cold Christmas Day morning, our church went to the square in Hebrew for our homeless ministry. A homeless woman was participating in our worship service when Pat noticed the woman did not have on any socks. Without a second thought, Pat took off her own socks and gave them to the homeless woman who didn't have any socks of her own. I was talking to Mom recently about what she does for others in her approach, and she simply said, I just try to make sure everyone has what they need. Sounds simple enough, but those needs have covered food, shelter, a safe haven, a prayer, a parent figure, a friend, a mentor, a caregiver, a leader, and a pair of socks. Big things are good, but daily service above self is a lifestyle that makes our world better. And it's Pat's daily sacrifice that deserves to be recognized. And so, very honored to present the 2024 Rotary Club of Valdese Service Above Self Award to Patricia Zimmerman.
The entire club is in on it. So, congratulations. We still have some time, so does anyone have any other special remarks or memories or thoughts to share about Pat's contribution to our community?
I could, but I won't.
Sure.
I'd like to say, as the chairperson of the committee, the past presidents that takes nominations and helps to decide about who we're going to recognize in our community for the service above self award. It was Pat, you should know that it was a nomination. And all of a sudden, everybody responded with a resounding yes.
Thank God so much.
Such an honor. We put this out there to the committee, and that was the first nomination that we had. And then going through the list of things that would make a person eligible and stand out enough to win this award. Your name was there, it was put up, and everybody said that this is the person that needs this award. So congratulations on that.
Any other thoughts? Any comments from family? No? Okay. Good. All right. Well, we will, what we'll do.
I was just going to say, I've got a great place to watch what happens to the church on Sunday morning. I can see everyone. And no one ever goes and greeted by Pat. Any visitor, any guest, she's there with them. And we know if there is someone who needs to be cared for in the church, she's right there for them.
Yeah. All right, well, we have 20 minutes to spend together in fellowship, so we'll close out our meeting, have our 4-way test, and have some time to spend with Pat.